Okay, first what we're going to do is we're going to take the front screws off. Okay, next we're going to take this off, just the front wet head. We're going to use a slotted screwdriver, small one. Just get her in the corner there, just on an angle, and something to bang it. And then you're going to twist. Some of them are going to be tough to get off. This one was pretty easy, but usually get in right where the screw goes in, a little bit more meat, and just go back and forth. If you have to go all the way around and kind of work it out like this, and remember how it goes back. Okay, now sometimes you can do a mark here just to remember. Most of the time these are black, this one's a green one, but if it's colored one like this, red, green, whatever, you can just mark it like that, or mark it with a screwdriver. So you can do a mark like if it's black, just like that, line it up. Okay, so that's over to the side. In the front we're gonna have this, I call this a hat, kind of looks like a hat. It's just an extension ring, it's extension ring or something like that. I think that's the proper terminology. It's when this goes in, it sits there. There's gonna be a little bit of a space. So this kind of floats in there, so there's no space when the water's getting sucked in. Okay, so we have to take this impeller off. So sometimes you can get to the back. You take this off here. And you get a screwdriver. Usually a big, if you have a bigger one, it's better, and there's some grooves in there. And try to turn it off counterclockwise. Now this one's gonna be too tough to get it off. So what I do is, you see that cooling fan in here. I think that's plastic. A lot of times you gotta be careful doing it this way because I don't want to break the fan fins off. So what I do is I put one in there. If you can get a couple of them in there, get a couple of them in there. Okay, sorry to get in there. I don't want to break it, so get a bigger wrench. Get a hold of the impeller and then counterclockwise. Okay, so we can't twist that off without, I don't want to break those fins when I have it in there. You kind of know just the feel of it. If it's not going to go, you want to force it, and then you can see in there they're going to bend and break off. I don't want them breaking off. So we're going to have to break this impeller off. What I did was I just went around the angle and I just banged it really. I didn't want to go too deep because I didn't want to hit this. So I basically just made cuts all the way around it. Then eventually it just, all the cracks went across, and then you can pull it off. So I had to pull it out of the motor. This is the last thing you want to do. You want to normally keep it in. I know there's videos out there that show you pulling it out and stuff like that, but if you don't have to pull it out, you only pull it out when you, like, if you're going to change the bearing, you don't really have to take it out when you're doing a seal. So you really don't want to take it out, but I have no choice because I can't really get this wet head off. It's on there pretty good. I think it, because the shaft broke. Each pump's different. Like, your pump's going to be different than mine. Mine's really tough to get off right now. Some of them are really easy to do. Each pump you do, it's totally different. We've done thousands and thousands of them. Not once that's the same situation. Some are really easy, some are really tough. This one's a really tough one to do. So that's what's inside the impeller. There's a nut. So if you chisel around it, then you can put a socket on there. So that's what we're going to do now. So yours might be different. Mine's 9/16. So you gotta make sure it's all cleaned off good. There we go. Getting that off. There we go. There's that nut. Now that's molded right in there for the shaft. So when you chisel that around, that's what you're chiseling. Chisel around that. You want to chisel right on it because you don't want to mess it up. You want to get a socket on there if you're going to end up breaking this off. So chisel around whereabouts it is, and then you can chisel off the rest. You can get a socket on there. It comes off. So we should be able to get that off now. Now, what you do is, even if it's on, you could feel it if you're going to turn it. Okay? Just feel it. If it's kind of gritty, grindy, vibration, you can feel it. It's really smooth. So we don't change the bearing. This one too. You push it and then pull it for this one here. There's no grittiness or anything. So make sure you clean this end off if it comes out. Only if it comes out, or you have to change the bearing. Now we have a video on if you have to change any of these bearings. So look at it. If you have to change the bearing, watch that video. I'll link it at the end of this video here. Okay, so everything's good here. Clean this up, just check your threads, clean that up good. And we're gonna put this back in. So what we're gonna do is, there's a ring, like a pressure ring, like a metal ring that goes right on here. Okay, so it's probably stuck in there, so you gotta look inside to make sure that ring's in the back. So look inside. Yeah, okay, the ring's still there. Sometimes it's stuck to it, so you gotta put it back. So a lot of times after you clean this off, a lot of times the ring won't stay there when you put this back in like that. So the only way you can stick to it is we got to put some grease, and I'll link this down below. This stuff's great for swimming pool gaskets, anything to do with water. Very water resistant. So you can put some of that on there on the end, just on the end, and slightly slide it in level. Now this came out, so I would suggest normally we do a mark here. So there's these pins. So the pins are in. That's why I said keep the pins in there, just in case these bang out. So you can line it up. So you're gonna put the pins all the way through. So you can line everything all up. Hold the back. And then use one of the pins. Okay. I'm going to use the top two. There we go. 2 pins in. One there, one there. Okay. Okay, it's all lined up. It'll get all sucked in once push all the pins through, so they're sticking out like that. Just for now. We're going to have to pull it back a little bit, just so it doesn't misalign. Okay, so we need a new impeller, so for this side, the way you're gonna do it is for this style. Face it down, we're gonna push it all, and then on an angle, just bang out the other one. don't forget there's it's like a ceramic piece plus a rubber gasket. Make sure the rubber gasket comes with it. See, it's stuck in there. So make sure it comes out and then clean up all in there. Now normally what you could do is for this, I would suggest to do it, it's just on the wet end side. So you might have a different type of seal. But what you do is just put a little bit of silicone. I'll show you in a second here. So what you can do is put some silicone right on there, just put some silicone right around here. So when you push it in there, it just squeezes out and then just clean it up. I don't have any silicone, so, and it should, see right now everything's dry for me. Like if I put silicone on that, I can push that down, it'll slide right in there good. You just push it down. So you acts as a lubricant also. So, but if you're not sure what kind of impeller you have, you should have it. And there's no numbers on here. Sometimes the numbers will be on here. This one doesn't have it. But if you're unsure, on the pump itself, it should have, this one's a 5 horsepower. And you just look up this pump here for 5 horsepower and you should be able to find this impeller. So you got that seal on. We got this part, we got the new impeller. Now, I took all the information off of this pump to get this impeller. Now the old impeller is slightly different. So it's a little bit different. So it looks like a newer type of impeller. Let's see if it fits. This is the one that calls for this one here. So the front wet head might be different. Maybe it's a little bit older. Well, let's see. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to get, just remember how this goes back on. It could go this way, it could go that way. So just put the 4 screws back on. So what I do is I try to get the top going. Try to catch one first. See where it's going to go in. Catch a little bit and go to the next one. Okay, so we got all the screws on. So we're going to screw that back on. Just do it by hand. So just, you don't have to put over it. You just don't have to do it too tight. Let's see if the front goes on. Because remember, we had this on the last one. It won't go over. Let's see how much gap's underneath it. So remember how that goes back on. Okay, so it's fine. There's no gap there. I guess how they made it. This part here is like an inner part. So it's almost like it's built right on. Because it's actually the same diameter. It's a little bit smaller, but it's wider, so it's going to have the same amount of flow. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to put that back on. So only one way these can go on. You can see how this part here, and then on the inside, see this part right there, it lines right up. Line the holes up, then you put the screws back in. Now remember, when you put these, when you take them off, you can use a drill. But when you put them back in, don't don't seat them all the way in. You can use the drill to get going, like just to get them in there, and then that's it. Use the screwdriver to give that little extra little tweak, go around, okay? Just in case you might crack this, and it has happened. So you want to feel it by your hands. You want to feel how tight it is. So just go around, use the drill just to seat them in there, and then go one up here, and then one down here, one up here, go across like a star. Now, if this video helped you out at all, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and then we'll see you on the next one.